Fun fact number 141. Sneaking another one in. I'm feeling sick again, and I have like 6 days in a row that I'm going to have to work. And I'm supposed to get my flu shot this weekend, and I'm like, I don't know if I'll be able to. And plus, supposed to be doing all these health tests since already have found a doctor. But that's not my fun fact 141. 141 is going to be more BTS. I got these. I got two more when I was out. Well, there's another. Maybe I should do that as the next one. Because okay, I'll tell you the story. I usually go to dance on Sunday mornings in 45 minutes to an hour away from where I live. From 9 to 11, I dance and I go to lunch with my friends that live there. And then I might do some errands afterwards. I was on the highway for about 15 minutes, and all of a sudden I get a warning on my dash saying um, that my front left tire is at 19 psi. And I do have some video if you want to see it, but it was at 19 psi. And I've had a warning before, but it's usually like it's supposed to be 32 or 33, and it's at 30. And I drive an hour and it's at 29, and I just use my air pump and blow up the tire because I have one of those cars that doesn't um, have a spare tire. They have a pump, and then part of the pump is they have a liquid hose that you can pump liquid into it. Um, and then they have the air part. And so usually I would drive 45 minutes and get there, dance for 2 hours, go back to my car, put some air in the tire and be fine. But I'd never seen 19 psi before. And while I was on the highway, I had driven about 15 minutes away from my house and I was on the highway and it went from 19 psi to 18. Like as I was looking at it, it was going 19 psi, 18 psi, 17 psi. And I'm like, oh. So I slow down and I get over into the right hand lane and there's an exit, like one of the last exits for a while. And I get over and I get off the exit and I know where there's going to be a parking lot. And I'm thinking, I hope I can make it to the parking lot and get out of people's way. And I turn the corner. I hit all the lights, great, and it's like 5 psi, and I turn the corner, and I just pull over. I couldn't make it into the parking lot. It was like at 2 psi, 3 psi by then. And so I take out my pump. I try to pump it up, and it only will go to 10, and it won't go any higher. And so I try to put in the liquid stuff from the pump, and it's all dried out. And two nice Hispanic gentlemen stopped by. Luckily, I know some Spanish and they knew a little English and we communicated. And they said they worked nearby. They tried to help me and they worked nearby. I put my hazards on and everything. And they said they worked nearby and they would be back. They would come back. I'm like, okay, fine. I'm going to go across the street to the 7-Eleven and see if they have like a fix-a-flat something. And they did, and it was $15. And I'm like, okay, just use my credit card. Let's go. And so I brought the foam thing back with me, and I had done it, and I put some in, and another person pulled over, another lovely Hispanic man. And he had to be like, third, fourth, fifth generation, spoke good English. And, you know, um, understood English and Spanish when I was flipping back and forth and stuff. And he came and he was like, um, "What's going on?" And I said, "Well, I got this flat. These other guys help. We did this, and now I'm trying to do the phone." And I finished doing the phone. And he helped me set everything up. And it was pumping. It got up to 20 psi, but that's still not good. And it still looked flat as all get out. And as soon as we unplugged it, it was like um It was back down to 1 PSI. Since we unplugged the pump and stopped pumping, it was down to 1 PSI again. So we're like, there must be a major thing. And he goes, well, do you have AAA? And I said, no, I don't have AAA. It's a long story, but when I lived in Oakland, I was in an area. I went to a store to pick up some stuff for a party, and I was going across the bridge to a party. I was already running late, and it was before cell phones, and I called AAA on a payphone and told them where I was at. And I waited like an hour, and then I had to call the people that I was supposed to be meeting and say, hey, I'm going to be late. I locked my keys in the car. I called AAA. It's been like an hour and they haven't come. And then I ran into an ex-policeman in the parking lot. And he goes, so AAA won't come to this area. But luckily, he was an ex-police officer and he knew how to break into my car through the hatchback because you couldn't do it with a hanger in the door. Somebody tried that. And so finally, he broke into my car. But then I decided I didn't want AAA anymore if they were going to not come if I needed them because I wasn't in the right area for them. So the guy asked me, his name was Keith, who was really, really sweet. And he asked me, do you have AAA? And I said, no. But maybe I can call my daughter roommate and she can come get me and we can go to a tire shop and pick up a tire and bring it back and put it on. And, you know, there's no dance today, it's not going to happen. And he said, well, I've got AAA and I was a passenger in your car. And so he can use my AAA. And I'm like, okay. And he drove his car across to the 7-Eleven and parked it there and hung out with me and called AAA. And they weren't coming for an hour to an hour and a half. And I was like, oh, where were you going? I don't want to interrupt your day. And plus, it's a Sunday, right? I don't want to interrupt your day. And he goes, I was just going, my girlfriend lives 2 minutes up the street, and I was just going to go see my girlfriend. And I said, well, call her. And he goes, I already called her. I already told her what I'm doing. And I said, I just, you can't stay here for an hour and a half waiting for AAA. And he goes, no, no problem. It's not a problem. And we talked about life and we talked about what was going on in the country. And we talked about, and we knew some of the same people, but that he knew them, but I didn't think those people liked me very much when I worked for the after school program and they misjudged me, I think. That's okay. But he was really, really nice. And we talked about life and cats and everything. And the AAA guy showed up. He even called his girlfriend because I kept saying I'm sorry. And his girlfriend said, no, if he didn't do this, I would be mad at him. These are the people we are. Um, and I'm glad he's doing this. And I'm glad I didn't have to tell him that he needed to do that. So I was like, oh my gosh, you guys are so great, Made me believe in humanity and again, a little bit. And that they're still kind and thoughtful people. Plus, it's making me work on receiving and feeling worthy. I cried because I didn't feel worthy and feel like it was hard for me to receive his help and I didn't feel worthy, but I'm working on that. And he goes, yeah, why do you keep saying you're sorry? Because I ruined your day because you you stopped and helped me, and so AAA came and Keith left and I got in the cab with the guy and he said he understands English but can't speak it well. And I said, I understand Spanish but I don't speak it well. So that was interesting. But the tire shop that we wanted to go to on a Sunday, the closest one was closed. The next closest one was closed. The next closest one was closed. So we had to drive a half an hour to the next closest tire shop that was open. And we went there and they were like, I'm like, yeah, you got to replace that tire. And they're like, 4 tires. Your tires. No. And my dealership in June or July had said, you're going to have to replace these, like for the past 2 years, every time I go in for servicing, they're like, you're going to have to replace these tires soon. And the last time they said, you're going to have to replace them soon. You just really do mostly in-town driving. And I said, well, no, I go 45 minutes away once a week. And they're like, yeah, that's no big deal. And so they were like, okay, your next visit, you're probably going to have to replace these tires. You'll probably be able to make it to your next visit. And I said, okay, that's cool. And the guys at the tire shop were like, yeah, you didn't make it. And if you don't replace all the tires, you're not, who knows if you're going to make it home. And they gave me a really good deal. I mean, like the 4 tires were like the price of one of my daughter's car's tires. And they had the tires for my car, which is, they're kind of rare. And they replaced them in 20 minutes. So since I missed dance, that was an expenditure that I wasn't expecting. But luckily, I have credit cards, and hopefully, I can slowly pay it off over time. But I haven't been able to do it with the other stuff. So that credit card just keeps going up, and I'm trying to work more. But then here I am sounding like I caught something again. Every time I work, I catch something from the kids. It's terrible. And I've been having some other issues, and from blood test results and stuff, it's like I need to change some things, which is anyway, that's what I have to say. So I decided, well, I was going to stop by this place called Locals to drop off some more books and see if any books were sold, but he was really busy, so I just dropped off the books. And then there was a grocery outlet there, and I found some really good deals, like Laughing Cow cheese for $2.99 and Clorox wipes, the small ones, for $1.99. So I did that, and they have like a little farmer's market, and I looked at that, but I'm going somewhere tomorrow to get free stuff because I do that. But then it was late by then, and I had been in touch with my daughter roommate. And I said, well, why don't I stop by the McDonald's up the street and pick us up both a Happy Meal? And I'll come home and we can have lunch together. And by the time I got home, it was like 2:30, and had lunch, but I picked up 2 Happy Meals. So this is a long story about, because I don't usually go to McDonald's. She goes there sometimes in a pinch. But she's been getting the Happy Meals because she feels like at least she's not doing a lot of calories and a lot of crap, just a little, and she usually gets the apples. So, so I picked up 2 Happy Meals, and our new thing with the Happy Meals is, so that's why I went to McDonald's. That's the whole story of why I went to McDonald's and got 2 new BTS stalls. I got gin. See? I got gin. It's a purple box gin. I got gin. But when I drove into the McDonald's, I was like, I wonder how I can get the red box ones, because I really like the red box ones, especially I think it's Jungkook and Sugar. I really like those ones. Actually, I probably should. I'm messing things up. I dropped it on the floor. Hold on. So this is gin. I got gin. Gin. And then, let me see. Yeah, I like Sugar, V, and Jungkook. Like their styles. Actually, Jin looks good. Oh, RM looks okay. They all look good. Whatever. But I'm like, how do I get the red box ones? I mean, this is a purple box one, and all the ones that I have so far are purple box ones. So, but I really like the red box ones. I think just a little bit better. I mean, come on, Jungkook's wearing a hat, and I love hats, and you know that. So, and I have them right over here. There's Jin. And then, da 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 da. I was so happy, so happy. I got a red box. I got RM. I love RM's hair this way. So I'm glad I got RM as a red box. So my 2 new ones are Jin and RM. That was a very long story to tell you what my new BTS stalls were and how I got them. But yes, exciting. And then, yeah, and life, life. Here's a mess. Here's a mess. It's in my face. Life. It's life. So there you go. Now I have one, two, three, four, a five out of. Oh, oops! I forgot to put this thing back. One, two, three, four, six. So out of 14 dolls, I have five. And if I get them all, that's okay. But I'd like to get some more of the red ones, I think. And I'd like to get at least one of each member. So, like, if I get two more and they're both red box and they're the other members, then that would be cool. But I think I do want John Cook in the red box because of the hat. So yes. Plus he has black hair then, and I prefer him with his black hair. But everybody has their personal preferences on things. So happy days, BTS, and long stories about getting flat tires. So that's fun fact 141. Long story about how I got more BTS dolls. Ciao, Bellas.